Welcome to the Money Business Podcast.
I am Brian Weyman.
I'm Neal Regino.
We are who we are.
What are we going to talk about today, Brian?
I'd like to talk a little bit about college funding.
Ooh, this is fun.
Not so much fun and not so much...
Did you know...
It's not scary, I'll tell you that much.
Did you know that we have the most debt in our country's history for individuals on a retail level? Auto loans, mortgages, credit cards, student loans, all over $1 trillion.
Yep.
Each line over $1 trillion.
And the order is mortgages are at the top, student loans are number 2.
Yep.
They're number 2. Did you know that the U.S. financial assets, 38% of the government assets are in student loans, which makes it their number 1 asset?
That doesn't surprise me.
Surprises me.
Well, I've said this even as an 18-year-old going to college. How come I can get an unlimited amount of uncollateralized debt with no income, but I can't get approved for a credit card?
Right, no guardrails on student loans.
Yeah, you used to be able to be approved for a credit card when you were a student, but when I was 18, I couldn't get one, so... At any rate.
There is a change, though, to that.
Okay.
So it used to be that the Parent Plus loan, which is, what happens is when you apply for college, you have a Stafford loan and an unsubsidized Stafford loan, which technically that's basically the student themselves. That's their loan.
So what's the difference between Stafford and unsubsidized?
It depends on how you qualify for them and how much you can get. Not to get too much into detail, and there's slightly different interest rates on each one. At the end of the day, the most you're getting in any given year is $7,500, right? The Parent Plus loan was where people would go to borrow the additional money they needed to pay for college, all right? That's mom and dad's loan. Students' names on it, but it's mom and dad's loan, all right? There was never a limit, no guardrail. If you needed $400,000 in loans over a 7-year period, you could do it. But starting next year, July 1 of next year, any new students coming in that have not already had a Parent Plus loan in place, they are capping the loans. And over the 4 years, the maximum you're going to be able to get, now, anything could change between now and July, but the word on the street is that right now, they're going to cap them at $65,000 total per student. Mm-hmm. Now, people say, well, $65,000 is a lot of money. I spoke with a client yesterday that's sending their kid to Florida. 1 year, school, room, board, the whole thing, $93,000 for 1 year. So the big question is going to be, where's the rest of the money coming from? And the rest of the money is going to come from private loans. So you're going to really probably see an influx. I would guess. I mean, can't predict the future, but I would think you're going to see a huge influx of private lenders coming into this space, and you may start seeing interest rates of like 23, 24, 26%.
Why would a private... Well, first of all, so I know about private loans because I've seen people that have them, but usually, in my experience, they end up getting private by refinancing their federal loans, and that's where it comes from. So private lending, does it have the same type of guardrails as getting a personal loan when it comes to college? Like, and maybe you don't know yet, but can they give an unlimited amount to an 18 or 19-year-old with no income?
They're not. They give it to
assets.
Mom and dad.
Oh, okay. So this is just for the parent.
This is for mom and dad.
Replace the Parent Plus.
It's in addition to the Parent Plus loan.
Yeah.
So who knows where that's going to go? Now the rule is how it's going to work is that if there's already a student in college right now and there's a Parent Plus loan out on that student and they already have one in place, they're not going to be subject to those new rules until 3 years after July 1st.
Okay.
So they'll have 3 years after the date.
This is July 1st, 2026, by the way, in case you're watching this podcast 10 years in the future.
Yeah, 2026. So. If you watch this in 2027, this already happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's clarify that. But as of July 1st, 2026, the new rules go into place. Now, the real question is going to be, what's that going to do to the college market?
Yeah.
Is it going to force them now to be more competitive in what they're charging, which wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, I guess, as a parent, we're going to have to put our kids through school. Is that going to help prices come down? I guess that remains to be seen too.
Well, people always want, yeah, and that's, people say, why does college inflate so much faster than everything else?
Oh, it's huge.
And it's because common sense tells you if you're giving unsubsidized or uncollateralized debt in unlimited amounts that's never able to be forgiven
Never.
on somebody who doesn't have income, obviously the schools can charge what they want.
And you can never, if you file bankruptcy, it's one debt that does not come off in bankruptcy either.
So
you can borrow for anything in the world, and in a bankruptcy, in most cases, you'll get rid of most of that debt.
Well, so that's the other thing that I think when you say the private loan, well, then aren't they putting the banks at risk by, if we'll see how it all pans out, but if they're now able to file bankruptcy and get rid of that student loan, I'm not saying that people should do it, but obviously there's a way out where student loans, there's no way out. And that's one thing I've heard economists say, and take it or leave it, but they say, student loans could potentially be the next big bubble, but because they can't be forgiven and because people who graduate college typically don't let anything default, they're going to make those payments or put them on forbearance or what have you, then they're less concerned about it. And I don't know if that's true or not. I'm not going to predict a bubble. I'm not going to predict where the economy's going. That's not my job.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I think it makes sense. Number one, let's stop giving people so much debt.
I mean, there was no guardrails at all at that point. And they're making changes to, and this is, I don't want to get deep into this. This is a whole nother podcast when we get on what they're doing with the repayment structures.
Yep.
But a lot of the repayment programs that they have are going away, and they're being reduced down to just a few.
Yep.
But that's a whole, I don't want to get into that. That's a whole nother podcast. We could talk for a half an hour on those changes.
When I deal with medical professionals, I'd say 9.9 times out of 10, they've got over 6 figures in student loans at least, and I've seen ones that are close to 7 figures, and you're trying to figure out how to pay these off efficiently, how to get into programs that could potentially get them forgiven, public student loan forgiveness, Saves Acts, things like that. So it's a hot topic, obviously. And, there's other ones that are just like, let me pay these back as fast as possible. Well, what's the best way to do that? So,
right. Or income-based repayments and things like that help people pay it back. But, I mean, let's face it, $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 of debt it's hard to get around.
Yeah.
And that's where people got to with the unprotected, no guardrails, no limit loans. That's what happens. Yeah. And it's still going to happen until someday that curve goes the other way, if it ever goes the other way. But again, we don't know that. I don't think anybody knows how this is going to play out. But at the end of the fact of the matter is that if you're not ready, or what do you think the biggest problem we have with people and why they go into so much debt for college? It's not just the cost of schools is obviously the problem.
Yeah.
But what do you think the second reason really is?
Because they think that they're going to make more money by going there.
That, or they're just, people procrastinate.
Yeah.
And they're not really worried, and they go into this thing last minute in a panic, and they just start, mom and dad just starts letting their son or daughter drive the ship of what's going to happen with college. And the truth of the matter is it's going to fall on mom or dad. So if you have a 2-year-old, a 3-year-old, a 5-year-old, a 7-year-old, a 17-year-old, no matter what, you have to sit down and start to prepare and plan and actually have a financial plan wrapped around, like, what's going to be the most efficient way to handle this.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen some huge mistakes.
I've also seen many times where parents put the kids ahead of themselves.
Yeah.
And we love our kids.
Right.
But not to the point where it causes you financial distress so that they're happy.
You shouldn't work till you're 90 just to get your kids an education.
Yeah. I have...
That's just my personal opinion. Do what
yeah.
you want. They're your children.
What crushes me a lot of time when they're giving so much money to that child and not putting it into themselves, into their retirement, whatever it is, and you show them the numbers, and they still say, I want to make sure my kid's happy. It's like, okay.
I once saw somebody drain their IRA and take a 10% penalty and pay income tax on it just so they didn't have to take a loan for school, and when mathematically the loan was cheaper than what they paid in penalties and interest. So again, mistakes are made, but that's what happens when you have to be prepared. You have to have the knowledge going into it so you understand how these loans work and how to get through it efficiently. That's the key.
Well, also part of what you can help with that I think is amazing is helping people determine if the marginal benefit's worth the marginal cost. And it's, if you have a kid that's going to, let's say they're going to MIT to be an engineer, and that makes a lot of sense, right? But they're going to pay that money to a lot of money to go to a really good school. Well, are they going to make enough money to make up for that? Well, what if they still went to MIT, but instead went to be a math teacher or professor?
Right.
And you're paying all that money. Well, what are you actually going to make based on that investment? How long is it going to take for you to break even on that investment? And what it seems to me that what we're finding out on education is that you can get the same education by going to community college for 2 years and then transfer to a 4-year school or
Those programs are out there for
an
sure.
undergrad school. And then, for my personal situation, what I've seen not only in my own family with my brother, but many clients of mine that are tradesmen, is that you can go without going to college and start out making way more money way earlier. And that even, you compare it to even a doctor. Okay, well, if my brother was making close to 6 figures at 19, and then by the time he was in his 30s, he's making 200,000 plus stock options plus pension, and the people that are just graduating medical school are now 30, and he had 10 years that he was putting money away. Well, it's going to be a long time before those doctors even catch up to where he was at. So,
yep. And college isn't for everybody. Not everybody has to go.
Yeah.
I think the other thing to point out too is, and we run reports on this all the time, is that we're advisors, so return on investment's a thing.
Yep.
Right? People want to see what's my return on investment. Well, I'm not going to mention schools, but I could compare school A and school B, and we'll use engineering since you brought that up. And it could be an engineering school here and an engineering school here. And engineering school A costs $80,000, engineering school B costs $40,000. But when you look at the salaries of the engineers coming out of both schools, engineer B is actually making more money, or they're the same.
Yeah.
Or if they're less by a fraction. But that $40,000 per year difference doesn't always mean better salary, better income, better life.
Yeah.
So again, you need to understand that return on investment before you go into all this debt.
Yeah. Well, something to think about. Do you think, just personal opinion, do you think it's better that they capped it?
Yes.
Me too.
My personal opinion. Yes.
I agree, but I also I don't want anybody listening here thinking that we're giving advice on whether or not you should go to college. These are our opinions of the different paths, and I am not going to knock going to college. I went to college. I graduated.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not
college is for a lot of
I shouldn't
people.
do it, but
The point is, maybe not everybody needs to do it. Who knows? It's a personal decision, but you should definitely know the rules about financial aid and all that stuff as you're going into it. You just don't go in blind.
Yeah, for sure.
It is too much debt to go in blind.
Just before we end on this, I know we'll go into this deeper, but when do you think they should start really looking at how to actually pay for college? Because most people are doing it when they have to fill out that FAFSA form or whatever it is now to figure out your financial aid.
I think they should start saving for college as soon as the baby comes home from the hospital.
Yeah.
I think they should start looking at a plan of their current assets of what they think the attack plan is going to be when college hits. I think they should start paying attention to that when they hit their freshman year of high school.
Okay.
Even 8th grade, possibly, just to have an idea, because every parent says the same thing. They grow up so fast.
Yeah. So obviously, a lot of our topics are geared towards business owners, but business owners do have children. So, so this is a huge, important topic to talk about, especially because of how much money it could take.
Some business owners send their kid to college, pay for college, and they come work in a family business anyway. So, that could happen.
Yeah, for sure. Well, anything else on this topic?
No, just thought something to bring up.
Yeah, for sure. Well, appreciate everybody tuning in, and I hope it was helpful, right?
Hopefully it was helpful, and you can look us up at evolutionfg.com.
All right, thanks. Have a good one.
Have a good one.